Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Market Down Podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by Danny Hernandez and Chad Big Bad Johnson. I hope everybody had a very happy Thanksgiving. We actually don't have a lot to get into this week, but let's jump in anyway. We'll start this episode with the latest episode of AEW Dynamite and begin with the main event, Cody Rhodes versus Andrade El Idolo in an Atlanta street fight. This match was very interesting, at least in my opinion. We continue the entire Cody Rhodes dynamic, which we'll get into, I think, in a bit. We had a lot of cool spots, at least I thought. The most obvious and let's go enlightening of all of them was Brandy Rhodes coming out in a hoodie and a mask, revealing herself and setting aflame a table beneath Cody and Andrade. Cody then inverted DDT, I believe Excalibur called it, Andrade into the table. Cody went up in flames. Cody was actually on fire and then was able to pin Andrade. There was a lot of cool spots in this match. It was actually a fairly violent match. Cody got busted open. I personally thought I liked a lot of this. I know a lot of people, including our close personal friend and very famous indie film director, Eric, did not like it. I got you, Danny. Did not necessarily like it, but I thought it was cool, and I thought it was very interesting how they because I just want to give a quick shout out to commentary before I throw it to you, Danny. Cody had shit on his back the entire match, and no one knew what it was, and commentary sold it as garbage because they got into it in the crowd and they hit each other with garbage cans. I was like, yeah, I can see it being like garbage juice and like shit from his jacket. Like, it totally plays. They sold me on it. I think personally, and I'm sure it'll come out after we film this, because of course it will. That was probably flame retardant, which is why Cody took the majority of that spot, and that's why they did it. And Cody still caught on fire. But I enjoyed this match. Danny, what were your opinions on it?
So I agree with you. The commentary did a good job, and I think it made sense because when he did hit him with the trash can, he still had his jacket on. So after he took his jacket off, that's when you first saw it. So you wouldn't have seen it before the garbage spot. So that actually works quite nicely. You know, his Homelander-inspired jacket, even though he's a baby face. But the match was very fun. It took me a while to get into it, not going to lie. I wasn't super into it at first, especially after the fan didn't throw Cody's belt back. That was a little disappointing to me. But the last 5 minutes of this match were on fire, I guess you can say. And especially when definite heel Brandy Rhodes came out and set a table on fire for no reason. Like Andrade's goon, whatever his name is, was not interfering at this point. He was gone. He was dealt with. I was unprovoked in a non-real blood feud. This feud is barely a feud. We've resorted to setting tables on fire, which, granted, was a cool spot and amazing. It just felt like the stakes were raised beyond what this match called for. But it's Cody's hometown, and he was going to pull out all the stops. So I understand why it happened. But the match, like I said, first half of it, wasn't super into it. Second half of it, the last, honestly, 5 to 7, maybe even 8 minutes were phenomenal. The nice little sledgehammer reference, just again showing that Cody is not completely clueless. As much as he seems like it some of these past few weeks, he's not completely tone deaf or clueless to his relationship with the fans. And then he took out a golden shovel, which was just great. Just
amazing.
Loved that. But yes, like I said, good main event. It made sense in Cody's hometown. He had a mixed reaction, but better than normal for Cody. So no real complaints here for the match. Just rest in peace, Arn Anderson.
Yeah, Arn took a pretty rough bump there at the beginning. I don't know if he was supposed to get involved otherwise, but he seemed to be beating the shit out of Jose on his way to backstage. And also shout out Jose, who was randomly absolutely jacked.
And helped him up too. Like you could literally see him on camera, like reach down and pick him up and then start brawling with them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you okay, man? I got you. And then start punching each other.
Yeah, that was definitely fun. I did also like the golden shovel and the sledgehammer spot. You're right, Cody is most definitely self-aware. Like he understands that he's getting booed right now and he's gonna play into it, even though he might not turn heel. I don't ever think Cody's really been whatever. We'll get into that in a minute. I don't want to babble on for about that too much. But Chad, your opinions, please.
Yes, I will today on this episode go on record in saying I don't like Andrade. It used to be Danny, or I guess Danny was indifferent, but I am saying it now. I've pleaded disinterest. I've pleaded that he didn't have enough storyline. Now that he has storyline, I'm not there. He looks like Black Mass from DC Comics, which I absolutely love. But other than that, it's not working for me. I'm sorry. I can't take it back. With that being said, I think the first 7 to 8 minutes of this match was complete garbage. I'm sorry, Rev.
Oh no, you're not wrong. It honestly definitely picked up after the commercial break.
Yeah. Now, after the commercial break, and I saw Brandy Rhodes, everything made sense. It turned into a complete circle for me, and then I was like, oh shit. I feel sorry for calling the match trash when they pulled it out at the end. So all in all, I guess it was a good main event. I can't complain rather after that. And the fire table spot, I'm cool with that. That shit was great for me. I liked it. I get what Eric is saying, but I liked it. It made sense. It's cool. We got violence, we got blood, we got fire. Who's doing that?
Yeah, God forbid they do that spot in a safe way and it doesn't come out perfect, like, jeez.
Exactly.
I do, as I've teased a couple of times now, I do want to get into something which I believe is now our first recurring segment on the show, the curious case of Cody Rhodes. Is this man a heel or face, or is he neither? Because I think at this point, I think he's just being really meta with it. He knows the crowd's booing him, but he wants to be face. He's broken the fourth wall multiple times now. I don't know. Does it matter, Danny? Or does it matter if he turns heel, if he keeps doing this and keeps getting booed?
I do think it matters because I don't think he's neither. I think he's definitely a face that is getting booed, and he keeps. Cause I like Cody a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I had years ago when me and my friends, when Legacy broke up, I was like, Cody Rhodes is the star of that tag team. And all of my friends were like, no, it's Ted DiBiase Jr. because that's who WWE was portraying as the slightly better of the two at the time. And oh boy, how that has aged and how right I was in that. So I'll always love Cody for that. And I'll always rub that in my friend's face. That I was right. And Ted DiBiase Jr. is like a real estate agent or a car salesman now or something. So,
Yahtzee.
Yeah. So,
well, if he is a real estate agent, everybody does have their price there. So that kind of works out.
I guarantee no matter what he's doing, that is part of his tagline. So I'm sure he's doing well. But Cody, it depends on the week with me. Some weeks I'm like, okay, he is self-aware. He's got this. Like, he is playing with us and he's planting seeds. But then there are other weeks where I'm like, those seeds are never going to grow. He really thinks he's going to just be a baby face and take the John Cena approach, which is not a good approach. Sorry, James, you're not here to defend your boy, but honestly, with James's other boy, Roman Reigns, it took them too long, but they finally realized maybe turning is the right approach. And look how that's turned out. So with Cody, I think there's just so much potential there. Some of Cody's best stuff for AEW was him as a heel, thinking he was still a babyface with the whole Bullet Club is fine, Bullet Club is mine line. Cody was such a good heel, and I get him wanting to be a babyface. And when AEW started, I think he was an amazing babyface. His promo against Jericho is still one of the best promos in the company's short history. But the crowd just decided, and I disagreed with the crowd at first. Like back at Revolution, where this kind of started, and the ladder match when he was getting booed, I didn't get it. I didn't understand why the crowd was booing. But now I can't blame the crowd. So I don't know. I think it does matter. I think he is a face, but I still, deep down, I still believe that I trust him, and he's gonna turn this into a great story, and he'll turn one day, hopefully.
I feel like this really kind of all started with that whole Go-Go feud, because that just fell apart immediately, like so fast. I mean, Go-Go was green, and I understand Cody wanting to put this guy over. I get it, but there was the whole promo that Cody made about like being an American and like turn this into like a whole American versus British thing, and then there was that weigh-in segment which we've talked about before, which was just awful. And I feel like starting there and then slowly moving on, you know, you mentioned Revolution and stuff, it's been really bad since there, Chad. And like I'm not booing Cody. I still like him. I still like his work. But just I think at some point, I mean, we keep saying this every time we talk about this, something's got to give. Chad, what do you think?
I mean, I agree. I'm of the belief that he has to turn one way or the other sooner than later. To echo what Danny was saying, and I hate that I'm bringing Eric up again on this podcast, shit. But to echo what Danny was saying, I recall a long time ago when Legacy split up and Cody went and did his Intercontinental thing. I said, holy shit, Cody Rhodes is really good. And Eric said, he's all right. Away from Randy when he became Stardust and everything, I said, Eric, once again, Cody is really good. I'm like, I can see him in a main event tier if he does things correctly. And Eric pushed me off again and said, nah, he's just all right. I won. Cody is clearly better than what Eric thought. But this is the first time I'm saying this, and it'll probably be the last time I ever say this in my life. I think Cody is very fluid. I don't use that often, but he's not a heel. He's not a face. He's just very fluid, like in the middle and not deciding, which I think technically is working in his favor. I'm super interested now as to where he's going to go. I love the crowd reactions. I love that he's telling a story without really vocally telling the story. I think it's working for him. He does have to choose sooner or later, but for now, I'm enjoying the mid and being in the middle.
Yeah.
So, sorry, but you guys are crazy. He's definitely a face. There's like no doubt about it. Don't be fooled by him coming down the middle of the entranceways. But
that's what I was gonna say. Damn it! I was like that thing. Just to Chad's point, he comes out of the middle.
But Cody is interested for the sake of, like, his story isn't about who he's facing right now, which is interesting, but it's also detrimental to whoever he's facing because they're the third wheel automatically, because the story is Cody and the crowd, and then whoever he is facing is now the third factor in this story, and that's not good. You can't do that for so long. But to go back to some positive, I wanted to say about what Chad was saying. When Cody was in the Money in the Bank ladder match that Damian Sandow won, and he had that like fire, and they made it. He had the hope spot of the guy who looks like he's about to win, but then has it taken away. That was one of the best versions of that like spot in a ladder match ever. Like that was like Cody went from like a mid card heel to like upper mid card. Is this going to be him going to the main event in one match? That's easily top 10 Money in the Bank ladder matches. Yeah, that's all I want to say on that. Chad sparked a couple of memories in me.
I actually agree. That Money in the Bank ladder match was fucking phenomenal. And I actually
heels.
Liked Damian Sandow at one point.
Yeah, same. But like, it was an all heel ladder match, and it worked.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah, the Sandow was good for a while there. Not to get too off course. I liked his Mizdow stuff. That shit was really funny. I want to get in one last thing here. I guess for you guys, this is kind of working out then, with at least for you, Danny. And now Chad, since he said it, he's facing Andrade. If the crowd is the second person and Andrade is just the third guy, it works for you guys then.
That was a good point.
True.
Moving on to another person who has been showing both heel and face tendencies. Bryan Danielson faced Allen 5 Angels in the opening match of Dynamite tonight. I very much liked, before we get to Bryan, I very much liked what they've done with 5, especially since he's taken off his mask. He's had really good matches and showings against Kenny Omega and now Danielson. I like him a lot. Apparently, he's only 23. They said it on commentary today. I did not realize that. And he's on Sammy's vlog, and I really like him there. So I'm glad he got a good match out of that, and I'm happy to see him doing well, and I hope he keeps doing good shit in the future. But we're really here to talk about Daniel Bryanson. Did I get that right? No, I always do that wrong. Bryan Danielson.
Just say it confidently.
I'm worse than JR with this. JR hasn't fucked up once on commentary, and I've done it at least 3 times on this show.
It's fine.
Anyway.
I've done it too.
I'm just going to keep calling him Bryan. It's way easier. Okay, so Bryan is currently running roughshod over the Dark Order. He kicked the shit out of Colt Cabana last week. Uno the week before that. On his way to facing Hangman at what was announced tonight. Was it Winter is Coming? Jeez. I only watched how much Game of Thrones? Okay. So, speaking of bad endings. This was a good match, like I said. But Chad here has informed us he's got a pretty hot take about Bryan. So I'm going to send it over to him because I want to hear this.
All right. It's not as big of a deal as Rav is making it, guys. But I do have a hot take. David, make sure when you edit me, it's some pizzazz here. I just broke the fourth wall. James.
Some flames like around the horn.
Something. James, my brother, I am sorry. I think AEW has totally jumped the gun on Bryan. I do not like any of this hill shit, at least not yet. I don't know if maybe it'll get better, but I am going to say strongly that I think he should have lost the tournament and we should have Miro versus Hangman. And Bryan Danielson as a heel is not what I want at all right now. It's not even that interesting to me. Sorry, guys. I know everyone loves Bryan Danielson. I also love Bryan Danielson. I just think it's too much too soon. It's reminding me of WWE, and I don't fucking like it.
Well, I think this brings us back to the question, is he a heel? I mean, he's still coming out of the face tunnel, but he is doing heelish things. He's kicking everybody's heads in, but he always does that. Even when he was face, he was doing that. He's just doing it a lot more viciously now. He's holding on to submissions afterwards. And you wonder if this is one of those things where it ends up being, oh, I just did that to get the best out of Hangman because I just want, I want to face the best. Or is he actually heel? Like, he's in this really weird spot. I mean, I know 2 weeks ago, and I'm sorry to keep bringing up previous weeks, but I just watched the episodes today. It was Thanksgiving. I missed everything. But a couple weeks ago, he brought back the Fickle thing from when he was the Planet's champion or whatever he was, the
ego.
WWE. Yeah. So I'm curious, Dan, is he actually heel or is he just kind of acting like a dick to try to bring out something in Hangman?
See,
or both.
2 weeks ago, that was a discussion, and I feel like we were on opposite sides of it, where you were like, he's a heel, and me and James were like, is he though, or is he like we've kind of, we're kind of ships crossing in the night here, and yeah, it's a brief It's Always Sunny reference for like the 2 people who got that, but I do think he is heel, and it's like maybe not full-fledged, but he is holding on to submissions after the bell rings, like you said, and he's just turning on the crowd. with these promos. And, you know, I agree with some of your hot take, Chad. Like, but
wow.
Yeah, just not all. I don't think he could have lost the tournament. Like, that's fine. But I just don't want him heel right now. Like, I'd rather him have not been heel. So that is why I agree that he could have lost the tournament, even though I don't want him to. But like, I was talking to James about this like last week, but I'm not ready for Brian to take this loss yet. Somehow him losing earlier would have been fine, but like now it's like I don't want him to lose. I really wanted Hangman to lose the title in his first title defense, but you know, it's my own like twisted like storyline I put in my head. But Brian's in a weird spot because I don't think it's a good. As much as I think it's good that people will cheer Hangman over Brian, or that people were cheering Eddie over Punk, I think it's a sign of bad. Like, it is a slight sign of bad handling if you have to turn these people heel that soon. And not that they had to, because they didn't have to turn Brian heel, but it's a choice that they've made. And I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm still enjoying it. I disagree. I think the heel work has been good so far. I think because he's right is a lot of it. Like, a lot of it is he's right. Like, he's the guy wrestling every week, not Hangman. And like, Hangman last week comes out and challenges him to a fight after he had a match. Like, how is Hangman the good guy there? Like, doing that, you know, it's the logic's kind of backwards. But I think it's a testament to how much AEW has built up their stars that people will cheer them over guys like Brian or Punk in certain situations. But I also think it's a sign of bad handling that you're turning Brian this soon. It's like when he came back from retirement, he turned heel like 6 months later because WWE completely dropped the ball with his return. They had him face Big Kaz for like 2 pay-per-views, and then they finally.
Sorry. I know.
This guy, you wouldn't know. No one would know him anymore.
I'm sorry.
He's kind of soft, so it doesn't matter. But then they had him have the Miz feud that everyone wanted, and it was disappointing. Like, that was a letdown. All the matches were subpar, which is shocking for a Bryan Danielson match. I wouldn't even like throw that on the Miz. Like, that was just like I don't know what we expected, but that wasn't it. Like, kind of situation. And then they had to turn him heel, and the heel run was fantastic. The Plan as Champion was so good.
That was good. I agree.
But the fact that they had to do that is still an indictment on them dropping the ball. And AEW, I don't think they dropped the ball. I think they purposely are throwing the ball down. Like, they didn't have to do this. They didn't put themselves in the corner. Brian was over as fuck. Like, I don't know. But I am willing to write it out because I've enjoyed it. I don't want it. I don't want to boo Brian, and you can't make me. I will not boo the man. Like, he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I'm just not going to boo him.
Well, he's still getting cheers. Like, people boo him when he's supposed to get booed. And other than that, he's still getting cheers. So
yeah, it's like this is happening across wrestling. Like, it happens with Becky Lynch on Raw. Like, she gets cheered even though she's a heel, and then she'll say something, the crowd will boo because, like, fine, we have to boo. And the AEW crowd is respectful, and they'll do their part and boo when they need to. But like, people don't want to boo this guy, you know? Like,
yeah, took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say the AEW crowd, tends to play along, and it works. You're right. I don't think they had to turn him, or even have him just act like a dick like he is to face Hangman. It could have just been a nice face thing, but he kind of seems like he's having fun with it. And from what I'm reading from his interviews, he's having a good time. So we'll see where it goes. Maybe it's immediately dropped not dropped, but he transitions back to being less of a dick after the Hangman match, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, well, moving on here to someone with a needle dick, MJF and Punk's promo battle continued this week. Punk had a match against Lee Moriarty, which, considering that commentary said Punk has been fighting a non-COVID respiratory illness, I thought was pretty good. Punk looked a little slow, which I guess made sense, and Moriarty I thought looked very good. So good on the kid. But the real fireworks came after the match with Punk and MJF shit talking each other once again. This was good. I mean, it wasn't obviously as good as a couple weeks ago with the Miz lines and stuff, but I genuinely did like it. So, Danny, what'd you think?
Of the match, I thought MJF was right. I think I don't want to be like one of those guys like an Eric or Jim Cornette or something, but like you can't give everyone so much offense. Like some people gotta lose convincingly and get squashed. Punk won on a GTS out of nowhere. He had no offense for the last 3 minutes of the match before that GTS, and Lee Moriarty is not the person to do that against. The same way Bobby Fish was not the person to do that against. Like
Fish, I get. Fish is a seasoned veteran and stuff. Moriarty, to MJF's point, God, I can't believe I said that, is a kid. Like it should have been one of those things where like he looked good, but like Punk beat him rather not handily, but like he wasn't in real danger.
There should not have been so many near. You could have do the roll up near fall spots. That's fine, but like, that is one of those the few times where I'm like, you gave him too much, because I do think that works. I normally do not mind that, but like at this, like Punk's got to start winning some of these matches more convincingly. But the promo segment after, great stuff. Great stuff from both of them. Even just MJF on commentary. One of the first things he said was, "Yeah, CM stands for cooking meth. That's why he looks like that." So good. Oh my God, the way he's tearing into Punk's appearance, like, cause I get it. Like I have that a lot of times too, where I always look fucking tired, and Punk always looks tired. So the fact that MJF is just taking every dig at that he can is great stuff. But good stuff. A lot of this feud somehow is becoming about Britt Baker, which I find hilarious because Punk mentioned her last week, saying that she replaced MJF in the Four Pillars. And I jokingly said last week, like, she kind of replaced Jungle Boy and Sammy's more than MJF, but I get the line. It's a great line. But then MJF said, "Oh, you're just trying to get into her pants, so you can try to do all you want." So, I can't wait to see Tony Schiavone get involved in this feud, because now he's definitely going to get involved now. But it was good stuff, and I think it's a great follow-up to last week. Last week was the big promo showdown, the big back and forth, and this was a good follow-up. You don't want to do nothing. You don't want to just have the match. You want to have them have some sort of interaction. And they did just enough. MJF was threatening to like kill Punk's dog, which understandably made Punk decide, "All right, I'm gonna go fight this guy now." And then Wardlow came out, and we were supposed to have that Punk Wardlow match at the pay-per-view, supposedly from that leaked match sheet that Tony Khan had. So I guess we didn't get that match. We got something way better. No offense, Wardlow, but we still might get that, or we might get something. I think Punk is going to be one of the big components in really planting the seed that grows in Wardlow, because the seeds have already been planted for dissension. Punk is going to be the one that really grows and something sprouts from it. Something about a green thumb, to keep the analogy going. But it was good stuff. I liked MJF's line. He said, I'm the spark to a flame you haven't had since 2011. It was just such good stuff. And, Punk took a nice dig at MJF's ridiculous suit. Happy Hanukkah to anyone out there. MJF's suit was very festive, put it that way.
Yep. L'chaim. I did kind of like the suit, but I did also. I did too. Yeah. I did also like that spark to a flame line. I thought it was dope. I would actually kind of like to see. I know you made a crack about Tony Khan getting involved. I would like to see either Adam Cole or maybe Britt herself go up to MJF backstage at one point, like real brief, just be like, "Keep my name out your fucking mouth," or "Keep her name out your fucking mouth."
I would love that too, because I think it again just ties into Britt's amazing character dynamic of being a heel, but being a face to the crowd, but being a heel to the other wrestlers, but still interacting with faces like Tony Schiavone. So for her to take Punk's side over MJF would just be great for this story and just another great layer to her character. So that's a great idea. I'd love if that would happen.
And it would make sense of character too, because Punk is putting her over and MJF is not. So it actually totally worked. Yeah, I know I mentioned Nicole originally. I really wanted to be her. And I thought Excalibur had a great line too, where he said, you know, MJF is probably jealous of her because she has what MJF doesn't, and that's a title. So, I mean, the chat, was there anything that stood out to you?
I have another hot take.
Chat is spicy tonight.
To another legend, guys. I'm sorry in advance.
Spicy.
To me, you guys know I am a Phillip Brooks CM Punk stan. CM Punk has been pretty boring to me lately. And I'm sorry, I know they're gonna fucking try to cancel me, but listen, I love CM Punk more than you, so shut the fuck up and listen. This feud has revitalized my faith in what Punk can and will do. Of course, it's a testament to MJF. He's fucking phenomenal, has been, always going to be. I can't wait to see him as champion. Yeah, I said it. But this exact feud is what I feel like we've needed from Punk for a long time. Like with him and Eddie Kingston, everybody, we just wanted Eddie to win because Punk was just, as MJF said, lost a step. He was kind of slow. He was getting back into the swing of things. And it was just, I think we were all so happy that he was back that we didn't realize that he wasn't back at 110 like he usually is. So for me, that was kind of a letdown. But this, I'm with it. Like Danny said, the seeds with Wardlow, fucking phenomenal. Him putting Britt Baker on, phenomenal. I'm hoping in the future, maybe we get a little AJ Lee tease going on with maybe the Britt Baker shit. I don't know. It's a far cry, but I'm a fan.
I think AJ is going to that new women's promotion, so that might be a little difficult. But
yeah, I'm quite sure. I can wish. I can bet. I was just hoping
would be cool.
Maybe down the line we get AJ. But yeah, I like this. I'm super into this. MJF can fucking talk, man. Lord, he can talk. And him bringing out that narcissistic but still kind of humble CM Punk, I think is going to speak I think it's just going to speak leagues away from everything that everybody's talking about recently.
So I don't think that's really a hot take. I just think you sound a lot like Eric right now.
That is the third time I sounded like Eric. I will quit.
Yeah, and we're mentioning Eric way too much to the point because like the people watching this really don't know who he is. So like we're really isolating the viewers right now, which I'm always for, but you know, maybe we should.
Yeah, this is some serious inside baseball here.
Let me dial it back.
Oh my God! Speaking of while we're doing that, you want to hear if I had hosted this week, the way I was going to introduce you, Rev, was a guy who was really happy to be a Mets fan right now.
Yeah, I absolutely am, dude. But I'm not going to get too much into that because I did. Yep, let's go, Mets. Danny's got the water bottle. Camera doesn't work. What was I going to say? Oh, yes, Punk. Punk clearly plays best off of people who can talk up to where he is on the microphone. You know, so that's why his feuds with Cena were so good. Because say what you will about Cena, the dude cut a good promo. That, you know, he was kind of stuck in that cookie cutter area for so long, but he was good, and they really brought out the best in each other. And then to go far more recent, that you have the Eddie stuff, and that was by far Punk's best promo in AEW. You know, they really brought out some vitriol in each other, and that was good. And now you got him and MJF. And MJF, as we said, is one of the best on the microphone in AEW. And they're really pushing each other, and it's great. And it's bringing the best out of Punk on the mic. And then hopefully when they step into the ring together, it brings out the best in him in the ring as well. Because to your point, Chad, if you look at Punk's other opponents up until this point, there have been very few verbal wars. Even Darby and him didn't speak too much, you know, and as much as I love Darby, he's not the best promo, you know. So he does cool backstage shit and he jumps off of things, but both in the backstage things and in the ring. But, he's not the best promo, and he's getting better, I think. And then, who else did he talk against? Fucking, oh my God, I almost called
Team
him.
Taz.
Yeah, there's Team Taz, and that was brief. And, Taz was good, but whatever. Yeah. Matt Sydal, I think there was some backstage stuff for that.
They never spoke to each other. Yeah,
it was all it was like a vignette, I think, it was the episode where SmackDown overran and they ran the YouTube thing, and it was on the YouTube before their match on Rampage. So he hasn't really got a chance to flex his muscles, so to speak. And now he finally has with these last two feuds. I think he's, you're getting the Punk you want, Chad.
Agreed.
All right, but I want to get back into MJF for a second and Wardlow, as you guys mentioned, because this now leads into next week's Battle Royale for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. I'm trying to remember the rules here. I think it ends up being the last two people, and then they have a match for the ring. We have this MJF Wardlow stuff that's been sitting around. I've personally theorized that this is Wardlow and MJF will probably have an interaction, which is the catalyst for Wardlow turning on him. I think that there we go. Sorry. I think that the other intriguing part of this, because we don't know everybody in the Battle Royale yet, or maybe we do and I just missed it, but the other part of this is the Team Taz and Dante Martin versus Leo Rush stuff, which I found really interesting. Dante joining them is insanely intriguing to me. Leo's out on his own. I don't know where Darius is. Hopefully he comes back, and that makes some cool shit. So I think there's there's probably going to be a couple more storylines that end up within the Battle Royal, but I think these are the two most intriguing for me, Chad.
I agree. Absolutely. Let me go on record saying I might not have been a fan before, or maybe I was. I can't remember, but Leo Rush is slowly really, really growing on me. I love Dante Martin, so I agree with you, Rev. Him with Team Taz is super intriguing. I can't wait to just see what the hell happens with that, because I think he's one of the best up-and-comers I've seen lately. Leo Rush is awesome. Wardlow, I think, will make a good face. So him versus MJF will be phenomenal depending on how they do it. And I can't wait to see. This will be my first Battle Royal. I haven't seen the previous two. So this will be my first time seeing it. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah. The Dante Martin, the Dante Martin stuff is cool, because he felt like such a pure babyface to me, especially the two of them together, Top Flight together, were pure baby faces. They probably could have had some really good matches they probably will have some really good matches in the future against Private Party, no matter which way the heel face dynamic is going. That is the future of that tag team division. We always talk about, this is the future of this division and that division. Those four guys are the future of that tag team division. I know I'm probably leaving a few people out there, but they are, two of the pillars there. And then the Wardlow stuff for me, I know we've said this before, Danny, this is serious Batista vibes against Triple H. It's
absolutely
coming.
Comparing him to Batista makes me not excited about it, but I get it.
The vibes though of
I know.
He's getting pissed off and he's gonna have an opportunity to win something, and the guy who's in charge of him. Yeah, you're right. They're channeling it.
They're definitely going for that. It's intentional. But honestly, the most exciting part, the two most exciting parts of this Battle Royal for me is I'm going to do the less serious one first, or the most important one first, depending on how you read my sarcasm. But Max Caster better be in this Battle Royal, because I want to hear him rap. But
screw it, put both of them in. Put Bowens in too.
They probably will. Bowens has been killing it in the ring lately, so he probably will be in it.
Been killing it on Twitter as well.
Yeah, but the real intriguing part is this is going to be in MJF's hometown. And when he was having this verbal back and forth with Punk, at the end, he was really hyping up that, next week he's going to be in front of a crowd that he respects and a crowd that respects him. And he kept putting over the crowd in Long Island and putting over his suburban hometown. And I think he's trying to plant the seeds of him hyping it up for him to get booed, which is just so nice. Him trying to be like Britt Baker in Pittsburgh or Punk in Chicago or like Bret Hart in Canada when Bret Hart was a heel, where it's like, oh, like you guys may hate me here, but when I go home, oh, they're gonna love me. Just get a load of this. And then if they boo him next week, oh, it's gonna be so good. So I think he did a great job of setting that up to the point where, like, as much as I love MJF, yo, Long Island, you better boo this man. Like, fucking, you're ruining the story if you don't, because he set that up so well. But I do think they will have some sort of dissension. I'm a little mixed because if they break up now, I don't think you do it until MJF wins the title. Like, I wouldn't do it until MJF wins the title. But if they want to do it as something to hold him over until he wins the title, that makes sense. And then for the Dante Martin, Team Taz, Leo Rush stuff, I'm not the biggest Leo Rush fan either. I thought he was a great manager for Bobby Lashley, as silly as some of the material he had to work with was.
Hit him with your favorite pose, Bobby.
He made it work, you know. So him coming in with Dante Martin was interesting. And, you know, I like the whole dynamic of him being a heel and trying to corrupt Dante. Because I thought that was leading to his brother Darius, whose name we did not know a couple weeks ago on the show. So that shows how well his career is going to go. But
he's been off TV for 8 months, I think. So
yeah, so like him coming back was supposed to, you know, stop Dante from being fully corrupted or whatever. But now that he's gone to Team Taz, it's so Leo Rush is the face, Leo Rush is good, but I think it works better as a heel. So I'm a little like, it's not working for me, but also part of me thinks that this is just like a ruse anyway, and he's going to eliminate Team Taz like from the Battle Royal next week and show that that was just Leo and him pulling one over on them. Because, you know, if you want your career to be successful, why would you join Team Taz? Like, at least Leo Rush is unproven. You never know like what's going to happen. You know, like, I love Taz and I love Ricky Starks and everyone. I love everyone in Team Taz, honestly, but like, they're a mid-card group. Like, they're just as bad as the Hardy Family Foundation in terms of like, they don't win feuds ever. Like,
Long Island, Buddhist man.
Yeah, they gotta. Oh, me? Yeah, they can boo me. Fuck Long Island. What the fuck? Yeah, get out of here. Long Island's fine. I don't mind saying fuck any town though, but. Yeah, that's the interesting part of it to me. But also, Dante, you took a chip from Hook. Like, that's a bond right there. And if you break that bond, like, you're the heel. You know? Dante is a huge up-and-comer, like you guys said, but if he disrespects Hook, his spot is gone. Just like that, Hook's going to put him in his place.
We at the Market Down podcast do not condone nor endorse Daniel's statement of fuck Long Island. Thank you for understanding. We appreciate your time here. It is fucking killed, Danny.
By people from Long Island? What? What? By suburban white boys in their polo shirts? What? Come on. I don't have a problem with Long Island, but killed? Come on. By someone from Long Island. We're from the Bronx, bro. Are you kidding me? What? Yeah, I said I'd fight Chavo Guerrero on this podcast last week, and I was wearing a Pokeball hoodie when I said that. And now I'm wearing a pink hoodie, and I'm not scared of people from Long Island, because who the hell's scared of people from Long Island?
Well, we finally restored order here at the Market Down podcast.
Did we?
Well, maybe not, because we're going to continue with Long Island here, because Danny and I are having a bit of a disagreement with Tony Nese. Tony Nese recently signed to AEW. He's had a couple of matches on Dark and Elevation, and will be making his TNT debut. I believe it is on Rampage this Friday against Sammy Guevara for the TNT title. I really like Tony Nese. I was a pretty big 205 Live guy back when it started. I very much enjoyed the Cruiserweight Classic and then followed all those guys to that show. Nese is good. Like, he is really good in the ring. And granted, he can be a little, I know you're going to say he's a little bland, Danny, and he can be a little generic, but well, A, I want to see what AEW does with this character, and B, he's good enough in the ring where while they figure that out, he can get away with it.
We'll see. We'll see about that. Not questioning his in-ring talent, but I am questioning whether that'll be enough for him to get away with it. You know, as we just found out, he is from Long Island, and whew, what an indictment on that place. Am I right? MJF is better than that whole place. And you know it, or something along those lines, he would say. My main thing with Tony Nese is that of all the guys you could have signed in this past year, like, you signed Tony Nese, like, you know, and hey, I maybe said similar things about 2.0, and it turns out they're fantastic. But I only like them because of BTE. Like, nothing they've done on TV has really made me like them, besides the past couple weeks interacting with Eddie and Jericho. But like, Tony Nese does not have that hidden charisma there. Like, he's just a guy, and he's a dark elevation guy, and that's fine. There's plenty of those guys on AEW's roster, but I just don't want to pretend he's anything more than that. That's all.
I mean, fair. I think I don't know. I like bringing him in and putting guys, and this worked with Lethal too. Bringing him in, putting him for the AEW title match, guys that people know. And then where they end up, they end up. I like him. Gotta agree with you on 2.0. Chew of the week is fucking great. Chad, do you have a semi-neutral opinion here?
Okay.
About Long Island specifically.
Or you're gonna agree with Danny for like the 18th time this podcast.
No, I fuck with Long Island. Long Island's cool by me. I'm good with them. Zack Ryder, shout out to you. For Tony Nese, I do agree with Danny again. However, I will play objective and neutral this time for the sake of the pod. I think that Tony Nese is bland, but I'll preface that by saying WWE never knows exactly what to do with certain talents. So I'm hoping with the freedom of character at AEW, he will shine more. I'm going to give him the same trial run I gave, oh boy, Andrade. I'll give him the same trial run, and if I don't see anything spectacular, I'll put him on the exact tier with Andrade, who we all know I don't like as of now. So
that's fair.
That's fair, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing too. Like, I want to see the guy succeed because I like him, and like you said, I don't think WWE really gave him a fair shake. So, you know, he could fall flat. You know, and you know, like you said, like Andrade, I'm still waiting him out a bit too. I think I'm giving him a little more of the benefit of the doubt because of how much I liked him. But while we were getting our shit back together, we were talking about him, and you know, we were saying, yeah, he hasn't really done much, I guess, since NXT, and perhaps a lot of that is Zelina not being around, and his promos come off as the word I used was aloof. You know, he's too cool, and then that just leads to him appearing to lack charisma now. It's because he was charismatic as fuck in NXT, but how much of that was Zelina?
It was all Zelina.
Yeah, maybe it was, but I think
nothing about Andrade strikes me as cool.
Yeah, well, at least not in AEW. I mean, the suit's nice, but other than that,
yeah. Actually, I'll track that back. The suit is nice. Yeah.
The suit's definitely nice. Like Chad said, he looks like Black Mask from Batman. So, yeah, we'll see with Nese. I have high hopes, but you could be right, Danny. He could just be, you know, generic white guy number 5, and who knows? Sorry, Tony. I didn't mean that. All right. Couple of quick things here I just want to throw in before we get to the Statlander and Ruby Soho match. Shout out to Pirate Pack or whatever.
Actually, I'd like a quick statement on that. I'm actually very offended by that, and I want to cancel Pac because my mom only has one eye, so I'm very offended by him wearing an eye patch on TV like that. I take that very personally.
He got the thing in his eye, the mist. He's lucky it's not dead. That whatever. What about Moxley? Moxley wore one for like a month.
Yeah, I hated him for that week too. You know, my mom can't watch 3D movies and they're making a joke about it. Come on.
Okay, and
I would never make a joke about someone only having one eye.
And
Yo.
I know a lot of people always make jokes about it, but Darby with the full face paint seriously looked like the I Like Turtles kid tonight.
Oh,
like,
shit.
Way more than usual. Like the half face paint, I was like, I get it, but it's not really there. Full face paint, that he was that kid, 100%.
Yo, I've never heard that reference. Now,
really, Ricky Starks made it.
Damn,
it was before you started watching when he was feuding with
Yeah,
Ricky
two
Starks.
people made it. Yeah.
When he was feuding with Ricky Starks, Ricky came out with his face painted and was like, "I like turtles."
I can't unsee it now.
Go look up the Ricky Starks promo with that. He nailed him on that. But
Absolutely.
let's get into this Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho match. This was, I believe, a quarterfinal match in the TBS Championship tournaments. I think a lot of people were looking forward to this match. These are two very good wrestlers, and I think they delivered. I actually very much liked the finish, surprisingly enough. Both of them were able to counter each other's finishers, and then Ruby just caught her with a roll-up. And as weird as that sounds, because I know when WWE does it, roll-up finishes tend to suck, but this was one that was done properly, Chad, and I very much enjoyed it.
I agree. I have to agree. I love Ruby Soho. Let me say that. I did really, really, really want Chris to win. However, when it played out and it was done, all said and done, everything went great. The match was great. The chemistry is great. The segment afterwards was great. I can't complain. I really can't.
Yeah, I don't see how you could, Danny.
Oh, I can. And I will.
Shit.
No, not too much, honestly. I'm just with the chat that I wanted Statlander to win as much as I love Ruby Soho and as much as Taz singing her theme is fantastic, especially because he's going out of his way to get the words wrong. Like he's trying so hard to do it bad, and it's fantastic.
He usually does it on just Dark, or now he's done. Yeah. He finally done it on TNT. I was laughing so hard. I almost missed the beginning of the match.
But I do agree. Yes, so my nitpicks. I don't mind the roll-up finish. But I do mind that they just did that in the Hayter Rosa match. Like that match did not need a roll-up. I get that they're protecting Hayter, but they already protected her by having the Britt Baker's interference like misfire. So they could have just had Thunder hit a finisher and win the match. But so then do it like back-to-back matches. That bothers me. That is a nitpick. But that is a very WWE thing to do. Do overuse the roll-up. Absolutely. They've ruined it to the point where even when they do good ones, because they did a good one in Becky Charlotte, and they've done good ones somewhat recently too, but because they do it so often, the good ones just get drowned out by all the bad ones. Then my other, this is nitpicking. Even if you're going to have Ruby win, I'd rather Statlander have won. I love both, but I think Statlander is like the most underrated, but still also nicely appreciated person in the women's division. But like she didn't win any matches in this tournament. She got a bye to this round. This should be the semifinals. Like why do we need to see Soho versus Nyla Rose? Like who cares about that match? I'd rather the semifinals have been on one side, Thunder Rosa versus Jade Cargill, and then Ruby Soho versus Chris Statlander. That way it's a little unpredictable. Like Soho's going to win because she's facing Nyla. At least she was facing Statlander. We have that reasonable doubt. The same way Rosa facing Cargill has that reasonable doubt, even though I still think Jade Cargill's winning the whole tournament. But like, it's at least it would have been down to a final four where it's believable that anyone can win. Whereas like, I just don't believe that Nyla can win. So now it's like, okay, is it going to be Ruby or is it going to be Jade? Or is it going to be Thunder? It could still be Thunder. I said it would be Jade from the start, so I'm really putting all my eggs in that basket. Not a Survivor Series reference, but yeah, that's it. The match was fantastic though. Like the Statlander this match was designed to make Statlander look really good, and it did. The handstand or basically cartwheel that she did out of Ruby's, I forgot what move it was, but she did
the monkey flip.
Monkey flipped into a handstand and then landed on her feet. Fantastic. All the counters, so good. Match was still great. So I don't want to harp too much on my nitpicks and make it seem like I didn't like it, because I really liked the match.
Danny, you saying that makes me think of something, and I hope I'm right. I do see either Jade winning or Ruby Soho. I want one of them to win for the fact that I think we get Thunder Rosa or Chris Statlander versus Britt Baker again 2.0. And I think that makes the most sense. So now that you've said it, I am agreeing with you for the umpteenth time. I think Jade wins this. I now it's making sense. The gears are turning. I really do think she wins this.
Yeah, Jade winning definitely makes sense. I mean, they've been pushing her pretty hard, and she's the person they want to look good, and she does look good. So I can definitely, I can see that happening.
She's clearly someone who hasn't been wrestling for very long, but they do such a good job of presenting her that they hide it pretty well.
Yeah, and she's so athletic, she makes up for it.
Yeah, and she looks, the part. She really does look the part. I can buy Jade beating anyone. I wouldn't question that at all.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned this before. This tournament has been so spread out. I had forgotten that Statlander had a bye. And so now that you say that, I'm sitting here like, she lost after the bye? So then this is technically an upset, which is weird. I agree. I would have much rather have had, I guess technically then Nyla would have needed a bye or something, but I would have rather have had Statlander and Soho in the semis. I completely agree with that. Wow. It's almost kind of a shame it's not a semifinal match, because I think you're absolutely right, Danny. As good as Nyla is, and they do push her well, and she's consistently booked strongly, I don't see her winning that match.
Yeah, because what's the point of her winning that?
Yeah, is Jade going to beat her? It's definitely one of those things where whatever match goes first, we're going to know the result of the other match, because I doubt they go face or heel. So
I think they could go face because
maybe,
Rosa and Ruby they were the last two in the Battle Royal when Ruby debuted, so they could at least play off that.
Yeah, that's true. And Rosa would fight heelish in that match too. So I guess that could work. But if Jade wins, it's 1000% Ruby.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Not even a call. So
it's Ruby no matter what. So that's why it should have been Chris and Ruby in the semis. But
I agree with that.
Yeah. Again, we're kind of nitpicking here, but I still don't know when this tournament wraps up. So
sometime next year.
Yeah, well, I guess quite literally at this point. You'd think it would be at Winter is Coming, or I don't know, or maybe they'll do it at Bash of the Belts or something, or whatever they're calling that new show they're having early January. We shall see. But that about wraps things up for Dynamite here. So let's move on to some WWE, mainly Raw, and mainly Edge and The Miz. Now, as we all know, I have given up on watching WWE, but I did see a little bit of this promo. Edge specifically referencing CM Punk's Miz reference when talking about MJF, and then referencing The Miz not being around and John Morrison then being released. Whatever. This reeks of just, there was a big thing involving us that got really meta on AEW. We have to respond somehow type of deal. So, it's cool. And I think Liv also made a reference to people getting fired later that night when she was talking to Becky. But it's Danny, it's whatever, right? I mean, granted, it's me saying it's whatever, but it kind of feels like it's whatever.
Yeah, whatever is a great word to use about it. Like, especially in the sense that, in terms of a like response, it's whatever. Like because what I've said was, you live rent free in people's heads. They reference you on the other show just to get a cheap reaction. And it's like, that's a good line. So I don't want to like slam that or anything, but like the point of that line by Punk was that it was an insult to be compared to the Miz. So, obviously Edge isn't going to say it like that. He's going to take it as a side of like, oh, they're using it for a cheap reaction. It's just a cheap pop or whatever. He's almost disparaging it, which is fine. Like, jabs need to go both ways. I have no problem with that. That's okay. Otherwise, it's just one company constantly shitting on the other. So like the jab should go both ways, but it's not just that. It's everything about the promo. It felt like them trying to have their version of the Punk MJF promo, and a lot of the material was the same. Edge, Edge makes these meta lines that talk about the AEW reference, but then Miz also is saying a lot of what MJF was saying, that you're too old now and like your body can't handle it and you're a broken down old man. And that was a lot of parallels. It was just like it was a worse version of the MJF Punk promo. And I was going to call it like the wish.com version, but like WWE's production is overall like more vibrant and kind of better. So like, I don't know what to call it when the production value is better, but the content is worse. I don't know what the website equivalent is. There we go. Yeah, Etsy. I could get with that, but actually no, I like Etsy.
I like Etsy as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think which one's DC and which one's Marvel. I guess WWE is DC.
It depends on
the movies. I was like, wear a Batman shirt.
Right.
Yeah, but and then Edge made the John Morrison line, and John Morrison is a pro and he's a goofball and he had no problems with it, and he had a funny like tweet about it. Also, if you haven't seen John Morrison's video after getting released, it's pretty good. I'd recommend it. But Edge made that line, and then like you said, Liv said to Becky later in the night, or earlier, I don't remember at this point, your big fat greedy contract is the reason my friends aren't here anymore. And that's way worse, because what Edge said was like, oh, you weren't here when your friend got released. I'm like, that's true. It's in poor taste, but it's true, and it's a good line. But like Liv saying that is like, it's like when the McMahons came out and said, oh, I know you guys haven't been liking the show lately. That's all Baron Corbin's fault because he is the authority figure on Raw. So we're going to fire him. And it's like, bro, like, no, like you're the bad guys here. Like you fired these people. Like, and it's weird because, you can use someone's death any day of the week. And that does not bother me, but it's like, stop trying to pretend the shitty things you do are anyone's fault but your own. So like that, like anyone getting mad at these lines being used, I get it. It's shitty, especially when you're trying to frame it as putting the blame on anyone but the people you should put the blame on. But the Edge stuff, like Edge as a face has run its course with me. It's funny, we were talking about this with Punk and Brian earlier. It's like, oh, it's too soon to turn them. Like, they just got there. Edge has been back for 2 years now, and his face run has been very bland, and he cuts a lot of the same promos as a face. And I've noticed this, like, he cut his whole feud with Rollins started with him calling Rollins Edge Light, and how he's just like Edge, and said, oh, you did Money in the Bank, I did Money in the Bank. You know who he cut that promo on 10 years ago? The fucking Miz. He said, you're just a wannabe Edge. And he said that to someone else too. Within 2 years of that Miz promo, Edge cuts that same promo all the time. And no one gives him shit because he's Edge and he's great. And he is great. But these aren't good promos, especially when you're cutting them constantly. Like, that's his go-to when he's a face. And I think that's kind of weak. But my biggest gripe with this is honestly, Edge only has so many matches left. As much as I'm complaining about his face run, I'm happy he's here. His return was amazing. I am so glad he can wrestle again. He only has so matches in him, and you're going to waste any number of these matches on the fucking Miz? Are you kidding me? You're going to waste a match that we've seen over a decade ago? Like, sure, Edge isn't the same guy, but you know who is the same guy? The Miz. The man hasn't changed at all in the past decade. He's the same. If anything, it's harder to take him seriously now than 10 years ago when Edge was still there. Like, the Miz is a fucking joke. No offense, James, to all the other Miz fans out there. Miz is a mid-carder at best. Stop pretending he's a main eventer. That's it. You know, the whole point of the Miz comparison in the MJF promo was that that's an insult to be compared to the Miz. Why are we comparing these two guys? Because they have similar haircuts? Like, that's the main point. That's why people compare them, because they both have the same colored hair and the same type of hairstyle. Like, that's the extent of it. Miz is a good promo. MJF is other fucking worldly. Miz could never hang with Punk. MJF is more than hanging with Punk. Like, there are tiers here. There are layers. And it's funny to use this, but Miz is actually a B-plus player. Arguably just a solid B, honestly. Like, Miz cannot be a main eventer. I know he was the champion earlier this year, and how stupid did that feel? How dumb did it feel that he was the guy that took it off Drew McIntyre? But how right did it feel that Bobby Lashley squashed him in a WWE title match? How believable was that? Incredibly. The only non-believable part or unbelievable part of that was Miz being the fucking champion in the first place. Like, Miz winning the briefcase off Otis was a lateral move. It was not the briefcase being saved. It was a lateral move. Except Otis was over as fuck, so you can even argue that it was going down. But it was an okay promo at the end. But it's just for a feud that no one wants to see. And if you want to see this, you're delusional, because you would have hated this 10 years ago. And like, you have to be drinking the Kool-Aid to think this is a good feud to have. This is a waste. And I feel like I got to say some nice things about The Miz to balance this out.
You don't
Miz
have to.
is a good promo, and The Miz should play Johnny Cage in every live-action Mortal Kombat movie. And he's probably a good dad. That's the extent of it. Like, I don't know. Come on, like, do you guys take Miz seriously as a wrestler? Like, I know, like, it's an internet, like, fucking trope to hate on The Miz, like, as a wrestler, but it's also an internet trope to love The Miz. So it's like a two-sided coin here, but, like, I don't know. Like, Brian put it best, where he's like, dude, you're soft. Like, you're not believable in the ring. And, like, I can't, when Miz is a mid-carder, I have no problems with it. But whenever he goes slightly above that, I can't buy into it. I said I'd fight Chavo Guerrero last week on the show, and he'd probably win that fight. Miz might as well be from Long Island, because I am not scared of that guy at all. Like, god damn, he might as well be a politician from Rockland, bro. I don't fear that guy at all. Are you kidding me? Oh god. Does anyone want to cut me off? Like, why are you letting me do
because
that?
it's funnier when you keep going, man. Like, shit just keeps getting funnier and funnier, and you start insulting random counties in New York. Yeah, that was a lot. I know the title of at least two of our clips, and it's Danny Hernandez shoots on Long Island, and Danny Hernandez shoots hard on The Miz. But I will start where I'll defend Miz a little bit here. I think you're right. A little bit. You're right. He is a mid-carder, but he's a really good mid-carder. He is. He's exactly where he's supposed to be.
Can I add one more caveat to that? He's a good mid-card heel. He is an absolutely terrible face. But yeah.
Yeah, his face run. The only face run I ever saw out of him was against Shane, and I was asinine. So, but he is arguably the greatest intercontinental champion of all time. Like, statistically, like, you can argue that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and get in a debate about it, but one could argue that fact. I think he has at least the second, perhaps the most days as intercontinental champion ever. Like you said, he's really good on the mic. He's not great in the ring, but at least he's safe, and he's good enough where he's not going to, completely fuck something up. So, and
he's had his share of good matches.
Like, he does his job, and he does his job well, which is why he's been there for as long as he was. Like 15, 16 years now. Like, There's a reason he's there. There's a reason he does what he does. There's a reason he was given a couple main event runs. Like, he's good. He's good at what he does. He doesn't have to be the man. He just, he's slotted exactly where he should be, and that's fine. I think I got to agree with you on Edge. He always works better as a heel. He always has. He always will. And yeah, the nostalgia trip has kind of run its course, even though I don't watch. But it feels to me like it has. Like, the fact that Edge is still going around being babyface Edge just feels kind of weird. I don't think he was ever a face to this long, even before he retired. So I don't know. I don't like that. The other thing I got to agree with you with is you said a lot.
I know.
The other thing I will agree with you with is it just does feel shitty that they're using these people's firings as fodder for their promos. That's some bullshit. Like, you guys fired them. This is it's real shit. And I get it. Like, it makes it more real. But at the same time, like, dude, don't be schmucks about it. Like, you fire these people and you're gonna bring them back up on your TV. Like, fuck out of here with that. It just feels like you're twisting the knife at this point. So, Chad, I think you're just as disillusioned with WWE as I am. Did you see this? Did you like it? What do you got?
I saw it. I did not like it. I will be the one, since James is not here and I actually like The Miz. I'll put the cape on for The Miz.
I did.
Yeah, you did a little bit. Despite what Danny said, I'll put the cape on for The Miz. I am in The Miz Taraj. I am also
I can go that far.
I am also an edgehead, and I hate to say I fucking agree with Daniel Hernandez again. I think this is high quality horse shit once again. Edge looks tired. He looks ridiculous. First of all, I never in my life, for as long as I live, want to see Edge be a face again. It was cute when it first happened. He got the pop. He came back at the Royal Rumble. We're all excited that he can wrestle. This shit has run its course almost a year ago. I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. I don't want to see it. As Danny said, if he has 20 matches left in him, why the fuck would you waste it on someone like The Miz, who he's beaten 3 or 4 times already? The Miz has no wins over Edge. This makes no sense at all. I love The Miz, but he can find something better to do, I'm quite sure. But now I'll go to the defense of The Miz. The Miz is probably one of, if not my favorite heels in WWE. He is goofy. I get it. I understand what you mean by that, Danny, and it is hard to take him serious. However, the promos, the matches, The Miz, I think, personally has chemistry with literally every single person that he's ever been in the ring with. And whether the match is good, great, or bad, it's not The Miz's fault. I think The Miz meshes well with everybody. He is, as Rev said, probably one of the best mid-carders, and I agree with that. So I don't always want to see him in the main event, but I think when he does get there still, he takes it up a notch. I think it works well for him. I know Danny can't stand anything I'm saying right now. However, it's just how I feel. I think he does literally have chemistry with everyone. So it always works out for him in the long run. But this is for nothing. Literally nothing. No one cares. There's no title involved. There's no huge storyline. There's no revenge plot. It's just stupid shit.
So I could accept. I don't think I could ever accept Miz as a main eventer, but I can accept him chasing the title, but not him winning the title. Same thing I accept Andrade, but like Miz is just not champ. Like, he shouldn't be a champion. Like,
don't you ever
chase
in your life compare The Miz to Andrade.
Well, hey,
Miz has only won twice, right? He's only
yes, he's only won twice.
And the first time was fine. The first time
Yeah.
was fine. This most recent one was garbage.
It was. I think they literally just did it because they needed to get the title off of Drew, and they didn't know how, so they just had the Miz be a dick about it, and then they immediately got the title off of him.
Let me tell you what the WWE does to The Miz particularly, which pisses me off. The Miz will go on one of the hottest runs of his career for like 6 to 8 months or whatever. And sometimes he'll be like the biggest heel in the company. And WWE won't look his way fucking twice. But when they need somebody to just hot potato the title off, then when it doesn't make sense, they do it. But when it does, they don't.
Well, they don't. They haven't done it a lot. He only won the title twice. And one of them was a fairly lengthy reign. So maybe with the Intercontinental, but not the main title.
That's what it is. When he has a great tear, they just give him the IC title when they should be trying to push him main event wise.
And a couple of those times they were good reigns. Like I want to say some nice things about the Miz because again, like man, I really don't hate these people or places as much as it seems. But like I just don't think Miz should ever be a main eventer. Like I think Miz should be in the Hall of Fame when he retires. And I think fuck it, give him the 10th Intercontinental title reign, let him break the record. Like that's fine. And yeah, like you said, Miz can be goofy, but like I don't mean that in a bad way. Like when I like he's good at it, he's entertaining in that role. It's just when people try to pretend he's anything more than that, like, and he's had his good promos, he's had the talking smack promo, blah blah blah. I love the one he had after SummerSlam. Like the one he had after SummerSlam in the Barclays Center, where he mispronounced Barclay, but like other than that, the promo was that's honestly his best promo ever to me. That far surpasses the Talking Smack promo. The Talking Smack one is great because no one expected it. It's on a fucking network show, and Daniel Bryan walked off because he couldn't wrestle at the time, so it was kind of like pointless. But like Miz has his moments. I'm not trying to take that away. I'm just to the people who were like when he won the title, who were like, "Oh, Miz is gonna be a great champion," or "Miz deserves this or that," and it's like, no, he had his run, and it was like But I want to say some more nice things about the Miz. I think I would get along great with the Miz in real life. I think
he does seem like a really chill dude.
He does in a way. Like he's a fucking loser, but he thinks he's cool, but he's willing to be the butt of the joke, and that's great. I think my relationship with him would be a lot like my dynamic with James on this podcast. James isn't that full of himself, but it'd be like the same kind of thing where I'm gonna neg him all the time, but he'll be cool about it and get in on the joke a lot of the times. So Miz, you're okay. I'm not scared of you, but you're all right, dude.
He's that company's workhorse as well. I think if they let him fly free and didn't dial him in so much, it would work better for him.
All right, well, let's move back away from WWE and a little further up the card. Get into a little bit of contract talk here. Yeah, I got you, Danny. Get into a little bit of contract talk here to finish out the pod this week. It has been rumored, and I guess technically anybody who can do math can figure it out. Both Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes' contracts for AEW are coming up very soon. The Young Bucks have already re-signed their deal, reportedly. So I don't think any of us think any of these guys are going anywhere, Chad. But I don't know, rampantly speculate.
I mean, I could make up something if you guys want for the sake of the pod, but we all know. I mean, come on, where the fuck is Cody gonna go? Literally, where is Cody going? And Kenny, is Kenny injured or?
Yeah, Kenny. So Kenny, for those of you who don't know, Kenny has been hurt since forever. So after Full Gear, it's come out he has been dealing with a multitude of injuries, including his shoulder, and he was wrestling with vertigo, which is banana lands. Yeah, James and I were talking about that, I think, on the Full Gear post show. With the fact that he was able to wrestle like that with vertigo is insane. So he's on hiatus while he's getting healthy. He even vacated. Well, the AAA made him vacate the Mega Championship. So he's going to be out for a minute, but I don't think that'll affect his contract status.
No, I wish you a speedy recovery, Kenny. He's gonna rest up. He's gonna get his shit back together, and he'll be right back in the same company he put on for. That's just that.
Yeah, I think for me, Danny, the only really interesting thing about these contracts is that, like, these guys signed as EVPs, and now I guess they're EVPs in name only. And I'm curious to see if that continues for all of them. Even because story-wise it works, but I wonder elsewise if it continues to do so.
I'm not sure. I don't have too much to add here because yeah, like you said, I don't see these guys going anywhere. Like, yeah, sure, Cody could go back to WWE, but like, you're really gonna leave a company you worked so hard to make just like 2-3 years after it got off the ground? Like that'll be kind of dumb. And honestly, kind of a dick move. Like I don't know. Like Kenny, I think he'll be back, but I think he doesn't come back without making a quick little stop in Japan. But like I don't think that'll stop him from being re-signed. He'll definitely still be under contract. Like it's technically a big deal, but speculating about this is super easy, barely an inconvenience. They're both going to re-sign.
Yeah, I know I led this with, Cody and Kenny's contracts are coming up. But if you look at it, there are a lot more people because of the length of the majority of the contracts that people signed when AEW first started. They all kind of run out around the same time. So we look at somebody, Big Swole she just tweeted out that she's not re-signing with AEW for whatever reasons she did not specify, but she's not coming back. She was just like, look, it's just not for me. And that's fair. But I think it's going to be interesting to see as these contracts start to come up, who doesn't resign. Are we going to get more people like Swole who are, stars of things more of dark on the level of Dark and Elevation than, Rampage and Dynamite. If they don't come, like a guy like Joey Janela, there's been a lot of speculation that his contract is coming up and people are wondering whether or not he's going to stay, which is interesting to me, at least, because a lot of these people who are big stars now were, built by Joey Janela very early in AEW. So, he had a pretty good hardcore match with Kenny. I think he had one with Mox. He had good matches with Darby. Like, he helped build a lot of people in the early days. And now I don't want to say he's languishing on Dark and Elevation, but that's where he is, and he's doing good work. And so we'll see. Like, it's going to be interesting to see where those people end up, especially now that there's no Ring of Honor, at least for the time being. Maybe some of them go to Impact. GCW has been doing a lot of work now, obviously, and they've been becoming more and more popular. So I think that'll be interesting as well. And then obviously, I'm sure, we've talked about all the WWE and NXT contracts coming up. So there's going to be a lot of movement in the next few months, even more so than the Mets have made in the last week.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you, Max Scherzer, for coming. I still can't believe that. Oh, it's the best Thanksgiving gift I ever got. Him and Marte. All right, it's another podcast, kids. I would like to thank everybody so much for tuning in this week. Please like and subscribe to the Marketown Podcast. We're really trying to get James to rap for us. We really want that when we hit 100 subscribers. He will do so. He has promised, or at least Danny's made him promise. So with that too, be sure to check out all our social medias. They're going to pop up in a corner above my head somewhere and will be in the description below. Thank you again for watching, and enjoy the beginning of the holiday season, everybody. Be sure to do your best to avoid Mariah Carey music. Have a good one.